your podcast. We got Jermaine. Got our main man from WEEI, Super Bowl champ. And I think he still owes his dinner, Shasky. I still think he hasn't gotten over what happened in 2022 in the NBA Finals. We haven't heard from Jermaine since, I don't believe. Jermaine, what's happening, my main man?
What's up, bro?
What's going on? Hey, that was a long time ago, man.
I was.
How's Golden State doing this year?
Not too good.
Hey, Jermaine.
I got my guy Shasky over here begging for LeBron James. That's how bad we're doing right now.
That's going to happen. Him and Steph going to get together somehow, some way. Believe LeBron's going to make that happen.
You think so?
Yeah, because LeBron ain't going to – listen, LeBron is the type of guy, it seems like, he's not going to finish his career on a sorry Lakers team that isn't competitive. So somehow, some way – he has, it seems like a great relationship with Steph Curry, and Steph Curry isn't going to finish his kind of career in Golden State on a team that's, not going anywhere. So somehow those two are going to get together. It just depends on whether it's going to be in Golden State or in L.A.
Jermaine, I love you. I miss you, man. Last time we saw you, we've made like 8 different city enemies since we went barnstorming through Boston, and you're one of the few people that likes us.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I rock with y'all because, I told you, I'm for that Cali love. I know where to get hyphy, you know what I mean? Listen, I know how that E40 thing goes, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey, Jermaine, what's going on with the Celtics, man? They had the best record in the NBA. They're rolling. They gave Jaylen Brown a lot of money before the season started. Obviously, a lot of pressure on them to get to the NBA Finals and win it this time around here. Is it possible that if the Celtics don't win the championship, because you've been on this for 3 years now, they'll finally split up Tatum and Brown if they don't win the championship this season?
If they don't win the championship this season, it's time to call up Steph Curry and see if he wants to come east.
Or send us Jason Tatum. No, you send Jason Tatum out here to Cali. You can come out here to Cali. Hey, we got a midday shift. We can pair you with us in the mornings. You work with us in the mornings. Take you away from Greg Hill and Courtney. You come out here with Jason Tatum.
Yeah. Tatum ain't coming to Cali, and I don't know if I can get adjusted to the time out there. But when you look at the Celtics, this is their year. You got 2 young players in Tatum and Brown, and Tatum has taken that next step. I know that he isn't in the conversation in the sense of when you look at MVPs in the league because he's on a team where he does a lot. And he doesn't maybe score as much as a guy like, SGA or, Jokic or something like that when you look at what he does. So he doesn't get his respect until he actually wins one. But I just think that you look at this team, the Celtics, this is their year. They're the best team in basketball. They have the best starting 5, in my opinion. Hopefully Porzingis is healthy because that's going to definitely be a major part of their success, but it's time for them to get over that hump, and it's especially time for Jason Tatum to get over that hump and say, okay, I now need to be in the conversation when it comes to MVP year in and year out.
Have you ever looked up Kristaps Porzingis' Wikipedia page, Jermaine?
No.
Yeah, because in the first sentence it says, hopefully he's healthy.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Hey, listen, I've been a Porzingis fan since he got drafted by the Knicks, and I know he was the original unicorn. I know everybody wants to say Victor Wembanyama now, but, that's his biggest thing has been his injury, and especially, being able to stay healthy throughout the playoffs and get to the playoffs. So that's the biggest thing, and unfortunately, as a Celtics fans, we're right back here, and all we could do is hope that it isn't as bad as it looked.
Yeah,
I think you guys might have trouble with the Knicks, man. The Knicks look strong, man.
Nah, we're not worried about the Knicks. Listen, I love Jalen Brunson. I think he's a tremendous player. Obviously, his dad is from around this area. His dad was an unbelievable basketball player in high school, and then had went on to have a really good college career. So everybody knows Rick Brunson around here, and I think Jalen's doing a great job. But, they're not the same team without Julius Randle. They're a scrappy team. They're going to work hard. But if the Celtics do what they're supposed to do, there's not a team that's going to get in their way in the Eastern Conference. Their toughest task is probably going to either be Minnesota or Denver, whatever one of those teams comes out of the West.
I want you to let everybody in the New England area, Massachusetts, Boston, just let everybody know. I got a bone to pick with y'all. You guys traded away one of the greatest baseball players I've ever seen in my life in Mookie Betts, and he's been a thorn in our side. Like, I can't believe. I'm telling. My dad said he's the closest to Willie Mays in terms of running the bases, arm strength, the talent at the plate to hit for power, contact. He is a complete ball player. Now he's playing shortstop, for crying out loud, at a high level.
Right.
That's one of the worst trades in baseball history, and you guys traded away Babe Ruth, for Christ's sake.
Well. If you really go back to the Mookie Betts trade, let's give a little kind of timeline of how it broke down. The Red Sox supposedly offered him $300 million, and at that time he didn't want that, and I think he ended up signing with the Dodgers for like $350. So it was a dumb move on the Red Sox part, not giving him the extra $50 million. But I guess if he really wanted to stay here, maybe he might have took the $300. But I agree that you should have never let him get away. But the biggest problem in baseball, and it's hard to see these players, and most of them, you get through a 10, 11-year contract, and then after year 5 or 6, you end up paying $40, $50 million a year for a guy who's not giving you the same type of production. And with a guy like Mookie Betts, he's not the biggest guy, and when he gets later in his career, you can't really move him to DH. It's not like a Shohei where you can kind of move him to DH and you can kind of get your money's worth for it. So I think that was part of the Red Sox issue in going maybe to $350. But yeah, he's done a tremendous job for the Dodgers, and he's arguably probably one of the best baseball players right now in MLB.
No doubt. We're talking to our main man, Jermaine Wiggins from WEEI in Boston, part of the Craig Hill Show. Does a great job out there. Super Bowl champ with the Patriots back in the day. Their first Super Bowl championship, of course, with Bill Belichick and Brady. And Jermaine, just overall, before we shift to the Patriots and what they did and whether or not they were interested in Brandon Aiyuk, what is the state of the Red Sox? We're 2.5 back of the Orioles. It's very early in the season, but we haven't heard much of Boston over the past few years. How are people feeling about the Red Sox? Because I felt like a lot of Red Sox fans were down on the franchise, but they got some players. Devers is a really good player. I think they have some young talent. How are people feeling about the Sox this year as the Giants are in town to take you guys on?
Well, you got to understand, we finished in last place the past 2 years, so we've been down on this team, especially when it comes to their spending and what we expected them to do, especially at the trade deadline the past couple of years. And it's just been like, I think a lot of questions been thrown at John Henry in the front office on why they haven't signed guys or why they haven't made, big moves. Because, around here, I know it's a little bit different for your San Francisco Giants out there, but we tend to be in the market for spending big money on big name players. So for us, we're not used to, as Red Sox fans, our ownership not being, a top 5 team when it comes to payroll. And they kind of have changed their philosophy a little bit in the sense of now you're kind of like middle of the pack. And I think a lot of Red Sox fans, especially the diehards, were wondering what's going on with the starting rotation. That's been the biggest problem with the Red Sox. And luckily for them this year, it's worked out pretty good because they lead Major League Baseball in ERA. So the starting rotation has been pretty good, even though there was a big push for like guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery in the offseason. But it's working out well for them. We play in the hottest division in baseball in the AL East. So, I don't think the expectations are World Series. I think it's more about be competitive and see if you can make the playoffs. And come trade deadline, let's see what the team does if they're competitive.
Yeah. We were talking earlier today about like just the greatest venues. I got a chance to go to Fenway in 2007 when the Giants went out there for interleague play, and it's one of the greatest venues of all time, just hands down. We were talking about different times to be and places to be and games to go see. You're part of that Tuck Rule game. You were part of that Dynasty for the Patriots, and I watched the Apple Plus doc, The Dynasty. Did you watch that, man? Did you? Because I got some questions.
I did. It was spectacular through like the first 3 episodes.
Okay, so you're with me.
I got a lot of pub in those episodes.
Yeah, but here's what I don't understand. Like, Jermaine, I thought they were hating on Belichick. Like, it really pissed me off. And they blew over multiple championships like it was nothing. And it didn't sit well with me. And I'm watching Kraft's kid throughout the entire thing, and the way he threw him under the bus, Belichick, for the whole Aaron Hernandez thing. I thought they did Belichick dirty. And for a guy that gave so much to that team, that franchise, it didn't sit well with me. It really pissed me off. As a guy who played on that team, what were all your takeaways?
Yeah, I think it was definitely you're spot on about the Bill thing. But we had the director of it on, and when you make something like that, we in New England, we love all the 03, 04 and all that other stuff. But you got to understand, like, I'm a big love and hip hop reality fan, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Love and Marriage, DC and Huntsville. So gosh. People love drama. People love drama. So you have something like that. I don't know if the director, and I think they did a bad job on it, but I think their biggest thing was, we feel like in order for it to be a hit nationally, people are going to want to see the drama, right? Yep. People in San Francisco don't care about, the 03, 04 season. They care about what happened with Hernandez. They care about, the Brady and Bill kind of controversy. Like, that's what people like. And it does paint Bill in a bad picture, a bad light. And unfortunately, I think what Robert wanted from it was to kind of show how the team was able to overcome all these things. But actually what it really did is it made him look like the bad guy in the fact that this was something that he had a hand in, and it did paint Bill in a bad light, and all his former players and people, anybody who played for Bill was like, man, why would you do a guy dirty who helped you win 6 championships? So it's kind of gave him a little stain, and I guess his just legacy. I bet he's thinking about, like, damn, if I could do it all over, I would have never came out with this thing. Especially now because everybody's talking about Bill Belichick and his work on television this past weekend at the NFL draft. And I always thought Bill Belichick had potential on television, watching the top 100, him breaking down the greatest players in NFL history, and then the Bill and Bill documentary, the 30 for 30, and, of course, his documentary with Saban. He made Bill look even better. Now everybody can't get enough of Bill. And now the Patriots, we're looking at them saying, Drake May? Really? Drake May? How are you feeling about that Patriots draft? And also, Jermaine, not to add to actually, let's start with Drake May. How you feel about the pick there at number 3, Drake May? I like the pick because, you guys see it. In order to be successful in this league, you need a quarterback. Yeah. No matter how good your team is, no matter how good your defense is, no matter that you have the best running back in the game, it's about your quarterback. And if you don't have a franchise quarterback that can rise to an elite status, you're not going to win a championship. And when you're sitting there at number 3, you have to roll the dice on getting a quarterback and potentially hoping that kid is going to be the franchise quarterback for the next 10, 12, 13 years to get you over the hump and be in that elite category. I mean, you guys see it in San Francisco. Say what you want. Everybody talks about how talented San Francisco is on paper, and I think Brock Purdy has done a tremendous job. But he's not been able to get you over the hump. Yeah. That's why they picked up the phone and called Tom Brady. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if I'm San Francisco, I'd be picking up the phone again and saying, hey, Tom, what do we got to do to get you here? Because, I mean, how long is the window going to stay open for the 49ers before they decide to say, okay, yeah, you're good, but can you win one? Dude, that's great. And the report came out this past offseason that Shanahan did tell Brock Purdy, hey, there's a chance we can get Brady. And if we do that, you're heading to the bench and you can learn from Brady. So they were still dancing around that topic last season, Jermaine. Speaking of which, Brandon Aiyuk, you heard all the controversy about our wide receivers, Debo, Aiyuk being on the block. Were the Patriots linked to him? And were the Patriots invested in Brandon Aiyuk? And what do you think about Brandon Aiyuk as a wide receiver in this league? I'd be all over it. I mean, I think that you kind of look at, there's been some issues in the sense of, like, he obviously wants to get paid. Debo got his money. Brandon wants to get his money. He was kind of, he was uncomfortable in his role in the last game of the year. When you kind of looked at it in the Super Bowl, they didn't really utilize him like he would have liked to been, just based on from watching it. And then, nowadays everybody takes to social media, so you really get to know how people feel. And I'm all over it. To New England fans, we're looking for that number 1 wide receiver, that guy that we could say, okay, here's our number 1, here's our elite guy. And defensively, teams have to know where this guy is at all times. Right now, the Patriots don't have that. And, I know they drafted the kid Polk in the second round, but Brandon Aiyuk is an already proven commodity to be one of those guys that's on the rise. So I was on board for that, and I don't know what's going to happen there in the sense that it looks like he's not going to be reporting to camp or something like that. He wants a new deal, right?
Yeah, he wants that new money because he has a fifth-year option, but he's not coming back unless he gets that new money. He was the second-team All-Pro last year, second in the league in yards per catch, seventh in the league in receiving yards on a run-first offense. So, yeah, he wants to get paid. So if he doesn't get paid, he would not be a trading camp, Jermaine. You know how that goes.
And I would be all over the Patriots to trade for a player like that all day long. I'll take either one. Whichever one you guys don't want, whether it's Debo or Brandon Aiyuk, we'll take either one of those two. And that's the biggest thing. You need an elite quarterback and you need an elite wide receiver, and that's the thing that I think the Patriots, they're looking for with the young kid, and they're still looking for that. And a guy like Brandon Aiyuk would be, the San Francisco would be stupid not to sign him, but they got to, I guess they got a ton of money elsewhere. And, I'm kind of disappointed that the Patriots didn't make a move on whether it was him or T. Higgins, because it seemed like you could probably get one of those guys. You probably get Brandon Aiyuk for a second-round pick based off what you saw Steph Diggs go for.
Yeah, yep.
The boss was asking us questions. We're doing these videos today. What's your favorite sports venue? And what's the best sporting venue or game that you were ever at? Obviously, you're going to go with the Tuck Rule game. You had a double-digit catches in that one, right? Like, what if I asked you those same questions, how do you answer them?
I would say that obviously the Super Bowl #1 on my list because, it's like, I don't know if you've seen any great movies that have sequels, whether it's The Godfather, whether it's, Die Hard. There's nothing like the original. And so the first Super Bowl, being part of helping start the dynasty and being on that first Super Bowl team, it's like, I try to tell, my claim to fame is that, listen, everybody knows who Tom Brady is, but if it wasn't for me in the Snow Bowl, you might not know Tom Brady.
Thank you.
So that's
I like that.
That's a pat on my mother used to say, you got to pat yourself on the back because if you don't, nobody will do it. So, but I would definitely say the Super Bowl. Growing up as a kid who was a diehard Pats fan, and then being able to play for his hometown team and help them win a championship. There's not many people in the league that could say that they've done that. The only guy that I think maybe might have the opportunity to do that next would be a guy like Tom Brady, a San Fran fan from there, helped San Fran win a Super Bowl. So, and he said he'd be willing to come back. So who knows?
Yeah, I know.
I always will take Tom Brady. You know that. I came out that Super Bowl. I said to Bonte, we went to the Super Bowl. I go, Tom Brady wins that game.
Yeah,
and I love Brock Purdy.
We walked out. Hey, Jermaine,
he wins that game.
Jermaine, we knew it too. When Mahomes threw the pick and the Niners didn't score, we go, oh boy, this is a problem. And as soon as we walked out of Allegiant Stadium, Shasky looks at me and goes, the difference, the quarterbacks. It's just
right.
Tom Brady wins that game, and I was like, yeah, I don't disagree with that.
and you got to make a decision. The 49ers have to make a decision, and you San Francisco fans have to go. Is Brock Purdy worth $225 million?
What do you think?
Yeah,
what do you think
he is?
I don't think he is. But that's the going rate. Look at Jalen Hurts.
I know.
Like that's the going rate. So if I'm a San Francisco fan and I'm a caller every day, I'm gonna be like Shanahan, Lynch, pick up the phone, call Brady, get me a Super Bowl, get me a Super Bowl, get me a Super Bowl. Because as of right now, Purdy doesn't look like, or not doesn't, he hasn't shown that he can get you over the hump.
Look, real quick, before we let you go, because we're up against it, Jermaine, real quickly. Mm-hmm. In those playoffs, you're watching the playoffs from out there in the East Coast. And I thought Purdy, up until the Super Bowl, he was fine. But I thought the first two games against Green Bay, Detroit, I said, boy, he reminded me of Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, he came back and won those games, but he was erratic. What was your takeaway from those playoff games? Did you think, they need to upgrade at that position?
I looked at it and goes, he'll help you get wins and he'll help you get there. But he hasn't proved that he could put the team on his shoulders and win it when he needs to win it at the end of the game. And that would be my concern if I was the 49ers fan. Can he do it? And that's the way I watched that game. I'm like, if San Fran had a legit quarterback, they probably beat Kansas City, but they don't have a legit quarterback, and you're going against Patrick Mahomes, and that's just the way it is. You need the elite quarterback or the guy that at least can play elite when the game's on the line, and you need that guy. And I don't know if Purdy's that guy yet.
Jermaine, you're always so good to us, man. We miss you. We'll catch up before the playoffs are over, too. We'll be following the Celtics because we're in a situation where what star can we get? Can we get a disgruntled star? Who is Tatum going to be disgruntled? Is Brown? We're desperate, Jermaine. We're desperate out here in the West Coast. We don't have playoff basketball in our backyard, man. I'm hurting.
Well, you got E40, so tell me when to go.
Yeah, well, E40, so that's a great walk-off, man. We haven't heard from 40, man. 40's on tour somewhere, man. Jermaine, have a good day, man.
See you, bro.
All right, later.
All right, man. Jermaine Wiggins, WEEI. Wow, there's a lot to unpack.
When the bar's set high.
Die hot. I love die.